Hello everybody and welcome back to Blue Cat Art and part 3 of my lion. Now, as you can see, we've progressed a little bit since I last filmed. We have added a little bit more into the eye, but I haven't added wool. I have added embroidery thread, very tiny amounts. That's the normal thickness of embroidery thread, and as you can see, if you pull it apart, there's lots of other strands there. So we've literally been using one really fine strand just to give it a little bit more of an oomph. I've got a little bit of green and a little bit of yellow and that nice white, which really does make it pop a little bit more. And here for the scars that this lion has, we're using a nice grey to create our scars, and this, I found it's working so well, and it's just giving that extra dimension to the felt. Now, I have also done this big bit here of lilac-ish. It doesn't look the same under the camera as it does in hand. It's very much more lilac-y than it looks. So we've been using that, and I'll just get it out my tub. These are the tubs I was talking about, by the way. Nice little tubs, have lids, and they're 1 litre tubs, so you get quite a lot in there. And we've been using that and that together. So those two have created the lovely background colour for our lion's face. It is too dark, but we're going to lighten it. As you can see, we've started lightening it already up here. So the whole point of that is it creates more depth to the fur, and it gives that illusion of being fluffy and more depth, really. I do get a bit tongue-tied, so please bear with me. As an artist who mainly draws, I know a lot of you out there probably paint with oils or watercolours or acrylics, and as an artist we're taught to colour mix, and you're taught the very basics of blue, yellow, they create green. So it's easy, if you have paints, to create that particular colour that you're after. Sadly, we can't do that with wool. You can mix blue and yellow, but it's still going to be blue and yellow. It's not going to turn green, and it's not going to look green. So we have to come up with other ways of creating the colour that we're looking for. And this particular, I'll move my camera, this particular orangey, lilac-y, sandy coloured face, I don't have wool that colour. So I am trying to create that colour with my wools, and also creating depth. Now I'm going over this base colour here with an off-white, and it's not cream, but it's not quite white either. So it's a soft, warm off-white. I'm going to tease it out so it looks more like a cobweb. Little bits, remember, little bits make a big difference. And I'm just going to place it over the bit I want to do and just poke it in gently. I had a lot of positive comments from my first 2 videos. very blown away. Thank you all for all of your lovely comments, and they were so many lovely comments. It really did make my day, and it made something that, to be frankly, terrifies me that little bit easier to cope with. So I'm very grateful, and to all of you who are subscribing to my channel, it's just amazing. I'm just absolutely blown away. So as you can see, it covers, and it's just toning it right down. You can still see those beautiful lilac and that gorgeous terracotta there. It's not covered up, but it's just been toned right down to give that look that we're after. So, and as I look at my reference photo, I'm going to move the camera again. I can see I've made a boo-boo. The nose is a lot more grey. So I got very slap happy yesterday with the wool filling in the face and not concentrating clearly enough. So rather than put another grey over the top and then more over the top of that, I don't want that part of the nose to be higher than that part of the nose, because otherwise it's going to create an illusion that really isn't right. His nose is going to stick up far too much. So I'm looking for my scissors. There we go. The wonders of needle felting. So much easier to change what you've done. Now I've already got 2 layers here, so I'm just teasing out the colour, and I'm trying to leave the white, the core wool that I used behind. Just going to take a little bit of it off, not too much, just a little bit. Can you see that's pulling it away? I've got the camera set up differently. The last 2 that I did, I had to turn the camera onto selfie mode. So if you're looking at this and thinking, she started another one, it's facing the other way, she's suddenly not left-handed, that's because it was on selfie mode, because it was the only way I could figure out how to record it and be able to press the pause or the stop button at the same time. So I'm just going to snip that away. Don't want to take too much off, just the end of that nose. And I'm just going to give it a quick, I don't mind if the odd thread of colour's left behind, that's fine, but I don't want it too thick, so I'm just taking that away a little bit. And I did get asked if people could see the reference photo more, so here we go. And as you can see, you've got this nice blue grey here, and it's just coming up the nose. Here it's still at that nice orangey yellow colour, so we're just doing this little bit here at the moment, which I think I'm getting the hang of this, she says. So I have this lovely bluey grey, which is really nice, and it will work lovely if I can find the end and get a bit off. There we go. So I've got this lovely bluey grey, and again it's very vibrant and will be too bluey grey, but like we're doing with the other, we can tone it down. So again, I'm just taking small fibres. When I first started, I took huge chunks and ended up with it all sorts of shapes and weird one, and I just couldn't get the colour right. So the less I took, the easier it was for me to create the colour that I wanted. So I'm just going to go back over that area with this lovely blue grey. I'm using a thick needle at the moment, what they call a shaping needle. I don't really go by numbers. I have a few favourites that I like. Like everybody, we're all so very different in what needles we prefer to use. So, you know, use what you prefer to use. So it'll take me a little while to do this. So I've also been asked about the linen that I use. So many people asking, because I see most of you seem to felt onto felt, which is lovely. It looks lovely. Nothing wrong with that at all. Absolutely nothing. And it obviously seems to be quite different, felting onto a different material. But for me, it works really, really well. It lifts off the back of the foam so easily. I'm not pulling fibres out. I'm not stretching the design whilst I'm pulling it off the fabric, because it's really, you can see it's really strong fabric. So, you know, I can poke it and pull it as much as I like, and the image is still going to stay the same. It's not going to suddenly start stretching and looking like it's had far too many interbred parents. So yeah, it's a really nice fabric. You can buy it from eBay, which is where I buy mine from. I buy all of my stuff from eBay. I live in the country and there isn't anywhere local that does any sort of artist materials. So I find I can get everything I want off of eBay, and if I can't get it from eBay, then I'll just get it from Amazon. Now I've got these blue fibres. I've filled in that, not perfectly, but I've filled in that gap. Just going to move my foam underneath. It's a little bit too far over. Excuse me a minute. That's it. That's better. I've got square blocks of foam underneath. Let me just show you. Square blocks of foam. Can't get them in the UK. They've been bought from China. And they work brilliantly for me. I discovered them in a multi-pack and have used them. I just bought 2 new ones because mine are starting to look a bit frayed around the edges. So anyway, going back, we've got this extra bluey grey here. Now, rather than cutting it off and having a very visual difference between the colours, I'm going to go over it, over the brown and the lilac, so it blends. I'm just going to change my needle to my fine needle. I can just tease it around a bit and mix these colours a little bit better. So I want the 2 halves to be blended. I don't want there to be this huge, oh my god, difference in colour nose. I want it to look like it's just gradually changed. So again, I've got another bit of that nose colour here, and I'm just going to place it over the top. I've got a little gap here that I want to fill in, and I'm just going to bring it up over there. Now if you get these big colour lumps, just be patient, just tease them around. When I first started drawing, if you go onto my Facebook page, you can see, if you scroll all the way back to the beginning, you can see the difference in my drawings. And some of the ones at the beginning weren't very good at all. But that's normal, isn't it? That's how we all learn. We all learn from doing things repetitively and from experience. And I had a lot of people over the 4 years that I've been doing art ask, oh, you know, how do you do it, and how have you got patience? And patience, that's a word, isn't it? Patience. It's the hardest part to learn. patience is the most difficult thing to learn, I have found. Hence, getting carried away with the nose, wasn't looking, didn't have the patience, and now I've got to do it again. Patience, yes, it's a hard one to learn. I work from the 3 Ps, which is practice, and I'm getting plenty of practice. Perseverance, keep going, because you're going to have off days and you're going to feel like it's just not working and, you know, you're not getting anywhere with it. But the more you persevere, the more it will come together. And patience. So practice, perseverance, patience, the 3 Ps. Patience being the last one, because if I ever manage to master patience completely, I think my work will be transformed into something totally different. Now, while I'm chatting away about the 3 Ps, I've also changed the colour slightly. Can you see here? I've gone back to that creamy white, and I'm just lightening the corner of this nose because my reference, it's quite light. So I'm just poking a little bit in, and I don't want it to be glaringly different. You want it to be subtle and to guide your eye so that you can't see the changes. They want to be there, but you can't see them unless you look really closely and you go, wow, look, it's a total change in colour there. Now, also, I'm going to just put that white right around the bottom edge, again, sparingly, because I can just see in the reference, I'll move the camera, the reference photo, I don't know if you can see very well, there's just that little bit lighter just around the edge before it hits that lovely dark line. So I'm just going to just put a little bit around the edge, and we can always add, and luckily for us we can always take away. So, you know, if you don't get it right the first time, you can take it apart like I've just done and try again. And it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to look back the next day and go, did I really do that? Now I've got to take it all apart because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So I've just put a hint of white. It's not 100% visible, but it will be more visible later on. So I just want to bring a little bit more of that colour down to the nose, but rather than going for the red directly, I'm going to take a tiny bit of coral, which, as you know, is quite creamy and easy to work with, and it is just a tiny bit. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of the terracotta that I've used, and I'm just going, that's a bit too much. There you go, split that up. I don't know if you can actually see, it is there, and I'm just teasing them together just to mix it. And I'm just going to place that over. Oops, should let go. You let go of it, it goes everywhere. I'm just going to place that over. And can you see, it's just created that little bit more of a blend, so it doesn't suddenly go from one colour to the next. You see? And I can just tease the little hairs into place where I want them, and if I get a patch like that where it's just a little bit too, I can just tease that piece back in. There we go. Now, it's quite high up. I have one of these. I'm sure all of you have one of these. It has 5 needles in this one. A bit looser if you catch your finger with it. But it's great for just squishing it all down and flattening it out. Can you see the difference in height from that to that? And yet it's just because I haven't flattened it on every process. So every time I add a colour, I just give it a bit of a stab, and then I go back in with my fine needle and I just tease out these little tiny clusters of hair that I don't really want to be glaringly obvious in your face. Okay, so we're going to carry on with this colour, this lovely cream, and we're going to just carry it on over here and bring down that shade. So as you can see, I've moved round, and I needed to put quite a bit of grey under this eye and around that scar that he has there. Now the scars have been made with embroidery thread, because I discovered embroidery thread 2 days ago and I haven't stopped since. Amazing stuff, absolutely amazing. You just want to break the thread right down because it's quite thick and it comes in quite thick pieces, and you can just break it right down into different strands, literally one strand at a time, to create that scarring, which was really good. And by putting the wool over it fractionally, you've not got that big glaring scar. It just wants to be subtle. You just want to see it there. Now I've got a bit of blue and I've got a bit of green as well here. Let me show you on the, if you can see, this area here is quite greenish and blue, so I'm going to find a nice